Hey there, it's CJ Willie, and I'm cracking a pack. Today is pack number 6 of my Magic the Gathering Ikoria Lair of Behemoths bundle. Check out my preview video on my Ikoria bundle as I explain the concept of what is your pick. I've added the link to the preview video in the description below. So let's grab our next pack out. Today we're to 6. Still got 4 more to go. Just as a reminder, how I'm going to rate this pack is my friends and I, we get together and get a booster box, and then there are 4 of us. We do 3 rounds of draft. Typical draft, you know, that everyone else does. The only difference is after each round, we don't keep the rares or mythic rares. We wait till the end of all 3 rounds. Then we put all the rares and mythic rares that we had in the box in the middle of the table. Based upon how we finished, we'll pick the rares or mythic rares to keep. First place gets first pick, second place second pick, etc. For my preview video, you saw that I had a Loris, a Luca, and a Sultai Triome. I can't remember the names of the way they called the wedges this time around, so I'm going to stick with the cons or the true wedges, Sultai. As I go through the pack, I'm going to review it from a very casual Magic the Gathering player point of view. Rarely in our draft do rares or mythic rares get picked. Usually it's the uncommons or commons, because those we can keep and we know we'll keep them for sure. Whereas the rares or mythic rares, it's going to depend on how you finish and how the picks go toward the end. First card out of the pack is Gloom Pangolin. It's 3 mana, 2 and a black. It's a Nightmare Pangolin. 1/5, no other abilities. Surprisingly, this is a decent card because it stonewalls a lot of attacks and a lot of aggressive decks. I mean, you can mutate on top of the Pangolin if you want, which is definitely a thing, but it's a pretty good stonewall card in black, and I've utilized it in the draft to fend off my opponent until I can get going. Next card is Frenzied Raptor. So this is a reprint from the Ixalan block. It's 3 mana, 2 and a red. It's a dinosaur. It's a 4/2. No ability. So first 2 cards, just a bunch of flavor text. Frenzied Raptor is okay. It's not the greatest. I mean, in a pinch, if you need a body at common 4/2, you got it. Doesn't really fit in the cycling deck. Doesn't really fit in too many other decks. Once again, just like in Ixalan, I thought it was meh. But, I mean, if you need a 23rd card or a creature, there you go. Evolving Wilds. It's a land. You can sack it, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. Definitely a useful card with a wedge set. Every time I saw an Evolving Wilds and I needed it for a 3rd color, I draft it. These typically went a little higher than I thought they would. Usually you could see this going as high as maybe 5th or 6th pick. Just helps fix your mana. Next is Faucet Reader, 2 mana, 1 and a blue. It's a human wizard at 1/2. You can pay a generic and tap Faucet Reader, draw a card, then discard a card. So a nifty looter. I felt blue is a little bit weaker in this format. It's a card that I like to play, or an ability I like to play in draft. This time around, it wasn't something I wanted to play. If I had an opportunity to pick up a Parcel Beast, that's a much better card, I thought, than the Faucet Reader. Plus, he's a human. You can't even mutate on top of him. Unlikely Aid is our next card. It's 2 mana, 1 and a black. It's an instant. Target creature gets +2, +0 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Great combat trick. I really like it, especially in black. I mean, giving it a buff of 2 mana is probably going to take out the creature you're fighting, and giving your creature indestructible is just great. It wins combat a ton, and if you're playing against someone playing black, you've got to just be aware. If they've got 2 mana up, chances are they're going to play Unlikely Aid. Next card is Blazing Volley. It's 1 red mana. It's a sorcery. Blazing Volley deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Nope. I'm out on this. Even in decks where I suspected there was a bunch of 1-butts hanging out there, it just wasn't a card. And I suppose in a red-white cycling deck, if you had to punch through the last bit of damage and you needed to keep, some of their little chumpers out of the way, I suppose, but no, not a great card at all. I do not like Blazing Volley, even in draft or even in sealed. Imposing Vantasar, 6 mana, 5 and a white. It's a dinosaur. It's a 3/6 with vigilance, cycling 1. This card looks kind of poopy on face value, but it's a good card. 1, it's got cycling, so it fits right into the red-white cycling deck. 2, in draft, if you can make it to turn 6, it comes down as a 3/6 vigilance. I had one time where I had Christmas Land where I played this guy. It was kind of in a stalled board as a 3/6. The next turn I was able to put solid footing on him, and so he was then coming in as a 6/6 because he has vigilance. So I like it a lot in the cycling deck, and even if you're playing maybe a little more of a defensive deck and you throw him in there, not that bad of a card. I mean, you can play him, or in a pinch, if you need to cycle him, go ahead and cycle. Next up is Blood Curdle, 4 mana, 3 and a black, instant, destroy target creature, put a menace counter on a creature you control. Great removal spell. What I really liked about it in black, and especially if you pair it with red, there's a lot of menace going around and menace type abilities. Destroying a creature on turn 4 and then giving your creature that you played on turn 3 menace is great. Blood Curdle is probably one of the best commons in the set. Takes out just about every single creature except for if they gave the Wingfold Terron hexproof. But I liked Blood Curdle, and being able to give one of your creatures a menace counter at instant speed for 4 mana. Haven't seen this, in some time. Usually this card has is sorcery speed. Blood Curdle, great card. Could be my pack one, pick one. Honey Mammoth, 6 mana, 4 and 2 green. It's an elephant at 6/6. When Honey Mammoth enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. Nope. I would trade Trample for 4 life any day. Having it come down and being a 6/6 without any sort of evasion ability, gaining 4 life is, I suppose, nice. But when we've seen this similar cost for a 6/6 with Trample, yeah, that's where I want to be. Especially with Colossal Dreadmaw getting reprinted in M21. Makes this card just useless. Main Servant, 2 mana, 1 and a white. It's a cat at 1/4 vigilance. As I talked about, I think in one of the other videos, in my blue-white deck, I had 2 of these Main Servants, and I had 2 Solid Footing, and I think I even had the Vantasaur. I didn't even have the opportunity where Solid Footing would come in and make this a 4/4, dealing a lot of damage. Really disappointed. I thought I'd get it more often than I did. In fact, I had it once with the Vantasaur, but trying to get the Main Servant with that Solid Footing stapled onto it, I never got it. I was really disappointed. I thought I'd set up my deck to have that work. Okay, our first uncommon is Endothic Crystal. It's 3 generic mana. It's an artifact. It can tap for Obzon colors, so 1 of white or black or green. Cycle it for 2. I really like this cycle of artifacts. Great at 3 mana. You can cycle it for 2 if you need to pitch it. Helps fix your mana. I think it's similar to like the banners that was in Khans of Tarkir, like the Obzon banner, for instance. In this particular set in Ikoria, the crystals are great cards. Next uncommon is Flamespill, 3 mana, 2 and a red, instant. Flamespill deals 4 damage to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller instead. So basically you got Trample stapled onto it. Flamespill is a great red removal card. Most of the time it's going to take out just about any creature. There are a few creatures that have butts greater than 6, but even if you've got to play it early on and kill something that's got 2 butt or 1 butt or a 3 butt, incremental damage trampling through is pretty cool. I hope that they explore this kind of design space a little bit more, giving spells trample. They've already given spells like Death Touch, so why not trample? Cunning Nightbonder is our final uncommon. It's got hybrid hybrid Dimir. It's a human rogue at 2/2. It has flash. Spells with flash you cast cost 1 less to cast and can't be countered. This was kind of intriguing. I wanted to try out, a blue-black deck that had flash. The problem is I really felt that blue was weaker in Ikoria, and so the flash deck never really came together. I think I played it one time, I think in my Obzon deck in the first round against one of my friends, and then took it out. It didn't seem to be all that great. Once again, if I could have made the blue-black deck work, I think it does some work, but nah. All right, our Mythic Rare is going to be cool. So we've got Yorion, Sky Nomad, 5 mana, 3 hybrid Azorius, hybrid Azorius. It's a 4/5 flyer. It's a legendary creature, Bird Serpent. Flying, when Yorion enters the battlefield, exile any number of non-land permanents you own and control. Return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. As companion, your starting deck contains at least 20 cards more than the minimum deck size. I really like Yorion. I was hoping to get a Yorion in this bundle. I drafted Yorion in our booster box, so having a couple of them is pretty cool. I'm not really bothered by the update that You have to pay 3 generic to move this from your sideboard into your hand. Yorion goes into a deck where you're going to be a little dirtly, you're going to stall a little bit, it's a little more control-y. So I'm not bothered by that, and I'm really excited to build a Yorion deck, an 80 card deck with Yorion as the commander. So we'll see how that goes. And then we have a swamp and a human token. In this particular pack, this is one where because I really like blue-white, this is a pack where I might be tempted to take Flame Spill or even the Crystal, but with it being pack one, pick one, and I'm not as limited to go Azorius because I could just go mono, more white or blue and pair it with other colors. Although I'm blue-white, I would take this. This is a card that I personally would take pack one, pick one. I think it's a great card, and in draft, it's something definitely could have made work, maybe in kind of a Jeskai cycling shell, or maybe a little bit more blue-white control, blue-white-black control. Anyway, this would have been my pack one, pick one. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Take some time to tell me in the comment section what was your pack one, pick one. Until next time when I'm back to crack pack number 7 in my Magic the Gathering Ikoria Lair of Behemoths, what is your pick?